Rishi, good to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us. So what are we learning from this outage? This is one of the worst runs Facebook has seen since 2008.
Yeah. Well, let's look at it with the glass half full. For the first time, maybe since Facebook's inception, and certainly since the 2016, those 2 to 3 hours that Facebook went out, that was the first time they fully mitigated the spread of dangerous misinformation, vaccine hesitation across their platform. So I hope everyone stepped back, took a deep breath, and realized the variety of societal harms that Facebook's been driving over the course of the past 5 or 6 years.
So there was a concern that maybe this was a hack, this was somebody maliciously did something to Facebook. They're blaming this on a faulty configuration change here. And their CTO, Mike Schroepfer, even came out with a statement apologizing to all the small businesses out there that rely on Facebook. But do you buy that this was just a faulty configuration change here?
If there's one thing that we know about Facebook is that we can't take them at their word. They've been caught lying, from the 2016 election on. Oftentimes, two small businesses at one time claiming to small businesses that their ad services could reach more 25 to 34-year-olds in the United States than were actually captured in the census. And so Facebook is good at PR. I have no doubt that this is a PR statement from one of their technical leaders, not from the technical leader themselves. And so, no, I don't buy it. I very rarely buy anything that Facebook's selling nowadays.
Okay, so let's talk about the whistleblower, testifying today. This is going to be really interesting to sort of see what she tells Congress as opposed to what we've heard from her interviews in the media on 60 Minutes in particular. And just looking, Rishi, at her opening statement, there's a couple things that really sort of stuck out to me. One is sort of this opening statement about the false choices that Facebook is giving people. She says, Facebook wants you to believe in false choices. They want you to believe that you must choose between connecting with those that you love online and your personal privacy. They want you to believe that this is just part of the deal. But these problems, she says, she ends with, are solvable. Just how detrimental potentially could her testimony be today to this company?
Significantly detrimental. And this goes back to my earlier point of Facebook hiding the ball every step of the way. And up until this point, up until Francis has stepped forward and revealed these documents, all of the information that we've had about Facebook, about the inner workings of Facebook, about how Facebook makes decisions has come from Facebook's PR team. And so these things that Francis has put forward has proven the idea that engagement is the metric that is prioritized above all else, even above the health and safety of teens, of our democracy, of our public health. Those are things folks have been saying for a long time. And when researchers like Laura Edelson, who's an NYU professor and leader in social media research, started to look under the hood, started to parse apart the data, Facebook pulled the plug on her. They deplatformed her and deleted her access to the data. And so what we have today and what Francis has brought forward is proof that Facebook has known about the societal harms that it's causing, proof that Facebook knew how harmful Instagram is to teens, especially teen girls, and they went ahead and chose profit every single time. And so today, I expect the testimony from Francis to be significant. I hope that those on the receiving end of that testimony, those on the Commerce Committee, led by Senators Blumenthal and Blackburn, who have been strong leaders on this issue, I hope their fellow members come along with them. And the call today, what we need to see happen is a congressional investigation from the Senate Commerce Committee that uses subpoena power, because only then will we really know the full scope of societal harms that Facebook's been driving.
Rishi, really quickly, she says in the 60 Minutes interview, regulation is needed. Mark Zuckerberg has even famously said in these testimonies in Congress that regulation is needed. They're just going based off of the existing rules here. Is this what finally forces Congress to do something?
I think so. And to be clear, Congress has done something. They have moved forward in June a comprehensive antitrust package that targets these tech companies, targets Facebook as one of the four main companies they're going after. That move forward, that includes break them up legislation, that includes protections against non-discrimination policies where they preference their products over their competitors, because right now they've grown just too big to care. And so that's one legislative proposal that's moving forward. There's federal comprehensive legislation, privacy legislation that the Senate Commerce Committee held a hearing on last week They're holding another hearing this week. And so I think what we've seen over the past 5-6 years is the temperature rising on Facebook. It might not be immediately clear what that meant at the time, but when it was the 2016 election, when it was the UN finding that they played a determining role in the Rohingya genocide, and when it's proven again that they are knowingly harming our public health and the mental health of our teens, the temperature now has risen so high that we're starting to see the water boil, and we're starting to see legislative proposals move forward. We're starting to finally see Congress act.
Yeah, good points all around, Rishi. It's such a pleasure to have you on this morning. Rishi Bharwarni is the Director of Partnerships and Policy over at Accountable Tech. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Meanwhile,